pretty good.
Let's see it.
Is that funny? I don't know. Listen, are you feeling?
Bathroom. Onto the bathroom, which was probably the worst part of the build. The bathroom took the longest, but it was also one of the things that didn't take precedence, I guess. Is that the right word? It wasn't the most important thing to get done right off the bat. The electrical was first, and then we had to get all that stuff so the AC ran and the fridge could get plugged in. And then we did all that plumbing stuff and got the propane running and did the bathroom. It takes up a good amount of space. In the van, we had to figure out, you know, the size of the toilet, like the type of toilet I was gonna get, and the shower itself, the pan, how big the pan was gonna be, and if we'd be able to fit it, still have a walkway and a little kitchenette area.
Shit, shower, and shave.
Yeah, it's a wet bath, so you could do it all in one.
So, what are you gonna do with those posts? So this is gonna turn into the walls, the shower wall and the bed wall here. For the closet slash fridge. Basically just building a stud wall out of these 2x.
Because it was a space consumer, while we were framing out the bedroom, like that was one of the first things Kyle and I did, we decided to frame out the bathroom. Now that's just 2x2s that we put up. And when you're framing in a van, it's really difficult to get anything square because a van doesn't sit square. It's not like a house.
What did you say you're gonna run at the top?
Just a header.
So we're gonna...
We don't have anything here to screw the ceiling to, but I got plenty of stuff here. So I think I'm just gonna mount these sides, these side posts to here, and then I can mount a header.
Cutting the wall posts at 74 and 3/4 inches.
73 and 3/4.
74.
73 and 3/4. Kyle, what'd you say?
74 and 3/4.
74 and 3/4.
Yeah.
You want to have another drill?
Just make it.
It's funny that they call this a square when it's actually a triangle.
I think I'm gonna bash this with a hammer.
The issue we're facing is this giant support beam here. It sticks out at least an inch or two further from what we've been mounting to for the walls. Which means we would either have to have the walls to the shower bow in, or we work our way away from it to then make everything square. So we decided, since you don't want to be standing in your shower bent over like that.
We'll move the pan out a little bit.
Yeah.
But we're gonna make it up, make that space back up.
We're gonna trim off the excess on that lip.
Run a line along there, and
You know, we did our best to get it as square as we could, and we mounted everything to the walls rather than like the ceiling, so we didn't have to lower our ceiling height. And we were able to frame it out, and we had to cut the shower pan a little bit to make sure that it wasn't too big hanging out, which I can share the dimensions with that, I don't know, on the screen here and here. Shower pan was this big. The toilet is about this big, and I'll link the products in the description. But we framed it up and got it in place, and now I have a laser level, like a self-leveling cross laser. And you can place it and it will get your level and make sure that whatever you're putting is true, which we didn't have at the time. We just kind of had to make do with what we had.
It's now 11 p.m. on the 4th, and everyone has headed home, but this is where we got. It's starting to look like a framed out, like a little camper, tiny home. It's pretty much framed in, and the walls are level, so don't have to worry about shoulder space issues. This wall is in, it's gonna start feeling tight. But for now, it's not so bad. Before we put the solar panels up, we've got to put in the ventilation hole because we're going to cover up the access point that we'll have. And so what I'm doing is measuring to about the center of my bathroom unit, or my bathroom area, and then setting the light. This is about the center point. Setting the light on this side and the vent here, which is a little closer to the middle of the room. It doesn't have to be perfect, but as long as it's semi-close.
During the time while we were hooking up the electric, the only thing we really did while we were working here that big week was put in the ceiling fan in the bathroom, which was a thing that we screwed up on with the solar panel, because then it landed right on the seam. I remember that was, and we had to raise it.
Right.
So that's a thing. Pay attention to where things are going to land. Another thing we messed up on and should have looked at, pre-planned.
But now I'm gonna send a pilot hole through, and then on top, we'll know where we need to drill down.
Check if I'm gonna hit any wires.
Well, it's not the metal that's got a problem.
But we got that in there, and it landed on a rib, because the roof has these ribs. So we just filled that in with some silicone, some weather sealant to keep the moisture out. And that's real straightforward, just a DC wired up little fan, an exhaust fan.
Clearly, it runs, but the wires in there are hitting, so I've got to tape them out of the way, unless there's a bug in there.
But that framing was all there, and we had the shower pan in place so that we knew when I went to my dad's to do the whole build out and get the big, like the bones done of the build, where the pump was gonna go and the accumulator tank, and how we were gonna run the plumbing around the shower to the hot water heater.
General idea.
Or sorry, the water heater. People got pissed I called it a hot water heater. It's a water heater. And then
On demand.
how that would run up to then the shower head. And then how we were gonna run power and water to the toilet, because that's also a flushing toilet, and where we were gonna get the cassette out of the toilet to then empty it. So
And really, that recording. Wow.
So we got that all in, and then, you know, while I was here, we didn't really touch anything with the structure of the bathroom. If you want to see the plumbing, we did a whole separate video of that. That's not going to be in this video. This is the building of the bathroom itself. And then after I started living in the van, we started to fool with it again. And that was, I think the first thing we started up with was putting the drain in.
We made a mark for the shower, and now we're gonna put a little pilot hole through to see if we hit any main arteries. Just take it slow. Oh wait, I see it. Alright, yeah, we're like right next to the frame, but I think there's enough room there to make it happen.
Yeah.
And putting a hole down through the bottom, which is something
So
we
we-
should have checked
Yeah.
earlier.
So we can run the proper plumbing
Yeah.
underneath.
Hit the other edge. See where you come out. Yeah, I think we're good.
We should have checked that off the bat, like, because you have framework that runs underneath the van.
Yep.
And like, we had just lucked out that when we set that
lot of
hole
weight.
through it, that we didn't hit into some framing, because the shower pan has a set spot for the drain hole. Unless you wanted to plug that up and put a new one on the other side, you can't really do that. So yeah, we lucked out with where it popped out, but you should check that in the very beginning when you're framing out where you want your bathroom to be. Where is the drainage gonna go?
Woo! Ow! Hot. So while Kyle's framing out the bottom of the shower here, as you can see, and he's gonna start building a frame around the toilet and then the door frame for the actual wet bath, I'm throwing in this cedar for the ceiling. Now, I'm thinking I need to line this with that felt liner just to prevent molding for our runners. You know, just in case moisture, which is, you know, inevitable, gets up there, that felt is gonna be a barrier between these nailer boards. And I've gotta throw probably a couple more up, one here and one here, so I have a place to adhere to up there as well. So I gotta figure that out.
We only got so far with the cedar because we knew we were gonna have to put in the actual shower walls and so we didn't want to butt it up to the wall, but we were putting felt liner to keep as a vapor barrier, and then siliconing between each cedar plank so that there was no gaps for moisture to get through, even though it will eventually get through the wood and everything like that.
You also have to let it breathe.
Yeah, you have
Anytime
expansion.
you're dealing with wood, it's got to be able to breathe.
Mm-hmm.
So somehow you've got to create the flow of air so it'll breathe.
Mm-hmm.
So, though we, yeah, well, you know how that all goes.
Right, it's learning.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all really Kyle and I got done. I mean, we'd got some rough plumbing done, but now fast forward to where we had the plumbing finished, it was time to start boxing in that whole shower and putting the remainder of the walls in.
All right, so what Kyle is doing is getting this board to the right size to fit for the back wall. So something we've had to backtrack on is originally we had set the board flush to the shower pan. After we watched a little tutorial video, the guy had shown that he had raised it up about 1 inch so that when water does get down on here, it might pool there, and then that could cause wicking on this board. So we don't want that to happen, so now it is off of the lip.
So the idea originally that I had was corrugated galvanized steel to put that on the inside of the shower, but because it's the ribbed stuff, it takes up like 3 extra inches, 1.5 inches on this side,
Yep.
and 1.5 inches on that side. You don't have that space to mess with. I think I filmed myself standing in the shower showing how tight my shoulders were side to side. So you have to be conscious of that, and that's why we decided, okay, I'm gonna return that stuff that I bought, and we're gonna go with just sheet metal.
During the week, my dad had his friend Ty pick up some of this sheet metal, and the idea was to get galvanized steel, but he didn't grab that. He grabbed regular steel. But as you can tell, it's been out here for no time, and it's already got rust.
The actual gauge of the steel was right, but there was no coating on it.
No.
So
we had
that
to deal with that.
rust. We had to deal with rust, and you know.
But they gave you that look you're looking for. With
Yeah, we did want to make it look
brass,
rustic
right.
and stuff, but still, that was real rusty. I just wanted to have something that was like, it kind of looks like an outhouse, and on the inside it's industrial and rustic, which made it really difficult. If you want to do one, it'd be a lot easier if you just did like a plastic, that stuff. Yeah. There are cheaper, easier ways to do it. We just kind of chose to do it the more difficult way.
Because his
I got
name is
here-
Benjamin Roy Reeder, son of Thaddeus Reeder, who always takes the more difficult route.
which we'll get into with the toilet.
Okay.
Anyway, before we put in the sheet metal, I still had to finish putting in the 1/4 inch plywood on the wall so we had something to attach to. And I even cut out a little square window at the bottom so that I can have a space for the cassette to be pulled out of the toilet.
All right, so the walls are all in, and our holes are cut. So that's running in, and that's cut so I can pull out the cassette from the toilet. Now I'm gonna take this form flash and run it all along the shower pan.
It's like a tar tape.
Yeah, tar tape, yeah.
And it's so that the water, if it does get back there, it comes down into the pan and it doesn't like pool in the back there and cause wicking on your
Comes
boards.
down into the pan.
Right. And so yeah, I did that.
Like a roof, you want to think about how water will, you got
Come
to
down
take it to the right
disperse.
spot.
I was gonna do that felt liner stuff along the whole shower, but you said no, because it's just solid steel.
We've decided against lining the entire thing in felt, and we're just gonna adhere this felt that I have up there currently with the ceiling for moisture, and then just put this sheet metal because it's solid pieces or solid steel.
So we ended up just doing flashing, which was standard. What do you use that for usually?
You
Roofing?
roofs and siding, anywhere there's a corner that comes together, so that any water that gets there will travel down in a path.
And so we had our bottom seam taped up, our corners covered, and it was time to put in that sheet metal. Now my dad, while I was doing the corners and stuff, getting that adhered, he was cutting it, all the sheet metal to size. Now, nothing, like we said, is 90 degrees. Everything's got a curve to it. You have to scribe it all.
Right, we had to take every measurement.
Like this
Top to
corner,
bottom.
yeah, is 68
Middle.
inches. We got everything fitted in there and in place, and then we were like, okay, it's time to, we'll stick them to the walls. And all we used was the remainder of the liquid nail that we had. We didn't have a ton left, and we used
No,
the trowel.
because you bought
to-
so much of that stuff.
It went
from,
bad. That's a little
It's got
tip.
a life, right. Life
That-
expectancy on this stuff.
Check your glue.
Yeah. If it sits on the shelf too damn long.
Yeah,
We were
bad.
cutting tubes open and putting it out with a putty knife.
Yeah.
We were doing whatever we had to do.
But that's what we adhered it with, and then we took some self-tapping little screws. They were little guys, but they had gaskets on them. They had little rubber
Right.
heads on them, so that they were airtight. They were
right,
watertight.
sealed. Yeah, they sealed.
So that's what we attached everything with.
They're holding all right. My shoulders are not touching.
Once everything was there, you know, I put a little hole for a light switch. I put holes for the shower fixture, which is just copper tubing that runs up to a shower head, which I think we covered that all in the plumbing video. But it was in there and in place, and then I caulked all the corners with a metallic caulk to try to blend it in.
Yeah.
And then the top, I used just a clear silicone to blend in with the cedar. And then it was time to get our toilet. I have a Thetford cassette toilet that is one of the ones that flushes, and it has like a swivel head on it. So we needed electricity and water ran to it. And because it's a cassette toilet, you need to be able to pull the cassette out of the toilet to empty it. And I didn't want to empty it out the side of the van, because then we'd have to cut another hole in the side of the van, the exterior. I wanted to empty it within the van. So we wanted to pull it out in the hallway that we had in the van, and then I can just slide it in, slide it out, have a little trap door, easy, and then I don't have to ventilate it. I'll just not go poop in it.
I'm laying out a template for the base of the toilet, cut this line right along here for the actual toilet to sit on.
So the reason that we have to raise the toilet up, so the shower pan itself has like a 3.5 inch drop, and if we set the toilet down here, then we'd have to cut this out, which is a pain in the butt. It's gonna cause more issues with leaking, and it's not totally straight. There's a curvature to it, which we'd have to work to. So the idea is to bring it up to the top of this lip so that I can just pull the cassette out of here in the back and putting a trap door there.
So that's where my dad started to make a little platform that would raise it up so that it was flush with the shower pan, so I could just slide the cassette out the side of the shower wall.
So the toilet platform, the cassette toilet platform, is almost put together.
Yeah, you faced it, and then we used that waterproofing membrane
Right.
that you were having Steve use up on your shower.
Steve just coated it in this.
It's a waterproofing membrane. Basically makes whatever you paint on it waterproof. And water will not penetrate it whatsoever.
Then to give it a look, we put the copper.
Yeah, you faced
We
it.
wrapped it in copper. Right.
And you did like little indents on it and attached it with little
So give it that look. Yeah.
things to help like go with the shower walls.
Yeah.
But that took a little bit of time because you have to let that stuff dry and all that to
Yep.
make sure it was waterproof. And then we covered it and we got it in place. And then we had to figure out, well, we've got it now attached to this platform. It's flush, but how are we going to attach it to the wall? So then you attached some wood to the interior of the back of that toilet.
The other thing that my dad threw together on the back of this is he adhered this board with these 3 bolts on this side, 3 bolts on this side, and then this gets sucked up to the back wall. it takes the pressure from this board through the wall with 6 screws and then tightens this edge to the wall so we don't have to put a bunch of caulk all over it. So there's now 3 mounting points to suck it up against the wall. Mounted the same way.
The back of the toilet had a gasket. It had a rubber ring around it.
Yeah,
and so
seal it all the way around.
So we ended up being able to pull it straight to the back wall, and then I just siliconed it, and then it was watertight, and we still had a gap underneath to hook up our water and electrical and have drainage. The toilet itself, even though we have it flush to the wall, the shower is so small in there that the toilet bowl, it almost touches the other wall, so you had to put a little handle, like a
Yeah, I
hook,
had to create a handle to
so that you could actually open the
flush
toilet
damn
to
thing.
flush it
Right.
and close it. But yeah, we got it.
creative crap.
Yeah, we had to
Take crap.
think on your feet.
Right.
So
Take out of the box.
we got it in there, we got it all tight and mounted, and then
And if you need one of those special crapper handles, you just call.
yeah, I don't know if anybody wants that. We got it in, and then I hooked up the electrical and the plumbing, and I had bought a Euro toilet, so the electrical was different. I had to bypass some wires and just hook up a positive and negative.
That's right.
And so we just hooked that up, and then it was time to give it a flush. The water line, which is tucked back here, is connected as well as the electric. If you hit the water flush, you get water. And then flush.
He doesn't pee in the shower. He pees in the toilet, so you make sure that you know.
No, I do actually. I pee
When you
in
take
the
a shower.
toilet because I don't pee.
Right.
If I pee in the shower, then it's in my holding. Like I have to empty that. You know. Well, I have to drain it somewhere, and then it's like, oh man, that smells. And the heat.
And
the
to
heat
run
comes,
outside all wet, naked, just to take a leak.
which I've had to do that too.
Yeah, well.
Now, the exterior of the shower was supposed to look like an outhouse thing. I don't really know what I was going for. I just wanted splashes of color to pop with the skateboard countertop on the kitchen and the dining table that we had. Yeah. So, pallet wood. That was free. I just went to a couple construction sites when I had my truck, and I just took a bunch of pallets. They don't use them. They just throw them out.
Got me a nice stack of wood.
But pallet wood's a super pain in the ass to work with. You've got to bust it apart, you got to pull all the nails out, and then after you get all that out, you get all your planks, you've got to cut off all the unsquared corners and chipped pieces and rotten pieces.
There's all my scraps, and there's all the wood.
Then you sand it, which could be dangerous. Certain pallet is treated with like a chemical that is dangerous when you inhale it. So yeah, sanded it down, and then, fireworks. Rocky doesn't like fireworks. There he is.
The pile is ready to go, as you can see.
I went and I bought like 4 different types of paint, as well as 4 different stains that kind of matched the colors that were in the countertops I had.
Taken them all and divided them into 8 groups, where it's 4 paints and 4 stains. I've put more in the staining side than the painting side because these are just like little flashes of stuff. I put one big pile of staining because I want to keep it that light stain that I got. But as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, the big pile on the left. Okay, so there's the boards painted out in the colors, and I just did 1 coat because I'll probably end up taking some sandpaper and lightly sanding it to give it that weathered look. Dark and light, that's like the second to darkest, and then these are some light ones. I put all the pallet wood out here, and I think I'm gonna start by putting some coats of polyurethane over these so they're ready to go when we are, when it comes to covering up the walls on the bathroom. Darkers, lighters, just, it's everywhere. Some down here that are drying. Here's all the painted distressed ones.
And then we just started pinning them in. And that's when he also had a door. He brought a door over that was from an old closet, which I filmed him talking about it. But it fit perfectly within the spot I had.
What's that door from?
This was from a custom closet up in Kenilworth. Didn't fit right, and we made a new door.
And then we did do one board with screws so that I could still get it off and get to the electrical, because I mounted the water heater control,
Yes, you
the
have
battery
to,
monitor, and the
false
thermostat.
space.
Yeah,
Right.
so you could still get access to those things. So that's the exterior of the bathroom. It's just a bunch of boards smashed into a wall, stapled into a wall, nailed into a wall. One of the last little things to tighten everything up in the shower is Greg came in and put some trim around the top to kind of hide all the caulking lines that we had, and the uneven cedar cuts that we had. And then we sealed those up, and we also put in a little mudding tray. That was his little idea.
That's right.
You know, to hold my soaps and stuff like that. He was pretty proud of.
Mudding
Yeah,
tray, right.
so he just screwed
Stainless
those
steel,
in.
and
He
it
put some
just
holes
gives
at the bottom of
right,
it so that
right.
it could drain out. But it's nice.
That
It's
is
stainless
cool.
steel. It
I mean,
works.
'cause
And then I put a shower curtain in there, because when you do take a shower, that water kind of goes everywhere and you need it to stay within your pan.
Right.
So that was a quick little add-on to get in there and work. So I bought a little
round,
yeah, what's the
octagon kind of
what's
like
the pirate
off
ship
of,
hole?
Right.
What is
Off
that?
of a pirate ship kind of look.
There's a name for it. We've said it before, and it's not in my head. A porthole.
It's a porthole looking there.
Yeah. So we got that on there, and that was kind of the last little touch. Oh, and I put little hooks in there to hold my towels. So I forgot to mention what I coated my shower walls with to keep them from rusting. I ended up using a pre-catalyzed sealer by Mohawk. It was like wood sealant.
Right.
And that ended up working, which I didn't expect to work. And I know there's other ways to do it, but this is what we had on hand.
Which
and
you're gonna have to respray it every so often.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna get the water behind it. You start to
get off. But it has been holding up really well
Right.
for the amount of time. Like, it's been a year since I sprayed it last, or more. And it seems to be doing really well. That's it. Shower, toilet, wet bath. I actually use it too. It was a lot of work. It added a lot of time, and it was kind of expensive. That stuff adds up. The toilet itself was like several $100s. And if you did like
But can you put a price on having to take crap?
I don't
How
crap
long?
in it. I pee in it.
Boat crap. It's priceless.
It is priceless. So that's it. That's the bathroom. And yeah,
You really gotta
I'll link all the stuff that we used, all the products, everything like that in the description. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments or reach out via email or direct messaging. And subscribe, like, share, put your bells on, and stay tuned for the next part of the build, which I think will be the bedroom garage area. That's it.
Yeah, you were my little frog man in a diaper. Came up the ladder on the flat part of the roof. I'm covered in this shit, and it's all asbestos. It's all vermiculite. It's all dangerous shit.
Yeah.
And you're standing there watching me through the window. I'm blowing all the shit out, and I'm like this, and you're covered in shit. And
Who
I'm
knows?
hollering.